We live in a society that tells us who to be, what to do, and how to behave. And if you don't fit in that box, you don't belong. Well, I say we challenge that because I believe that we were created to be unique individuals with a unique purpose. We all have something different to bring to the table, and we can all learn from each other if we're just willing to take the time to listen. Welcome to the Unavoidable podcast, where true connection happens and we stop avoiding the hard stuff. I'm your host, Caitlin Childs. Pull up a seat and let's see what we can learn from today's guest. Welcome back to the podcast.
Welcome.
To episode 3.
Welcome.
I'm glad to have you back. Did I roast you?
Glad to be back.
Did I roast you a little too much in last episode?
It's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah, he's happy to be
Just
here.
like the rest of life, non-confrontational.
Well, I wouldn't be a good sister if I didn't challenge you every now and then.
Yeah, okay.
So, in the first episode, we kind of talked about your strengths, people attracting, for lack of a better term.
It's such a weird
It
way
is
to
a
put
weird
it,
term. But it's like
it's not-
charismatic. You're
it's
charismatic.
not just people pleasing.
No, it's not people pleasing because I wouldn't consider people pleasing a strength.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
people attracting. We'll just stick with it.
We'll just roll with it.
We're this far in now.
So that's a big strength of yours. And then in the second episode, we kind of talked about your weaknesses, which is avoiding conflict and confrontation and things like that. So if you haven't seen those episodes yet, you might want to go get caught up on those before you watch this one.
Yeah.
But in this one, we're going to be talking about community and specifically how, we all have different things that God's gifted us with. And not everybody's is going to be the same.
Right. Otherwise, things would be boring.
Correct. But your strengths can complement my weaknesses and my weaknesses can complement your strengths. So how would you say that you've noticed that your strengths kind of help build that sense of community for other people and complement them in some weak areas?
I think being a people attractor. Like for instance, say you have a group of people. They could be a group of people hanging out. It could be a group of people at work.
Yeah.
It could be whatever. Having a person that kind of lightens the mood, builds rapport.
Yeah.
With a lot of different people can kind of ease tension, I guess.
Yeah.
As a whole.
Yeah.
So I think having that kind of helps with, I guess, tension. It would be the biggest thing, the biggest example I would give anyway.
Yeah. You are good at diffusing tension because I've noticed like if we're at a family event and things are getting a little heated, we can get a little heated at board game night. And so if we're like a fight's a brewing, Elliott can just crack a joke and it instantly like settles things down.
I've also learned that is a defense mechanism. So
yeah, correct. It is a defense mechanism.
Can't win for losing, but whatever.
But it's okay. But just like anything else, like I was talking to somebody the other day about how things like that are things that just need to be meekened. And so for those who don't know, the term meek, like you read in the Bible, it says you're supposed to be meek.
Not weak,
but meek. And a lot of people don't know what that means. So originally that term was used for war horses. So they would take these big, strong, powerful horses and they would tame them so that they could be used for battle. So they didn't lose their strength. They didn't lose any of their power. They just channeled it.
They harnessed it for a
in
goal.
the right direction.
Yeah.
And so when you have things like your humor, that's a defense mechanism, that's just something that has to be meekened and channeled in the right way to best serve you and those around you.
Like to diffuse tension.
like to diffuse tension, correct?
Yeah.
So I think that that is something that kind of works to your advantage.
Yeah, and I've seen some examples of that throughout life and
Such as,
with career stuff, like work stuff. Like I said in the first episode, I started at an entry level position where I work and have worked my way up through the years. But one of those stops along the way was a supervisor role. So, you know, we're all humans. We all have our junk.
yeah,
And when you get a lot of humans in a small area,
yeah,
you got a lot of junk going on.
right,
So being able to kind of diffuse isn't necessarily the right word because it's not always diffusing tension. It's not always solving everybody's problems.
yeah,
However, when you're dealing with a lot of people, sometimes that stuff's going to come up.
right,
You're going to have people that don't see eye to eye. You're going to have somebody that ate tuna fish in the break room, and
yeah,
it's stupid. Anyway, throughout the years, I've have dealt with some of those situations where you know I've I've told people I don't need you to want to go hang out with each other.
yeah,
But while you're here,
yeah,
we have to be cordial. We have to get
right,
along. We have our goal here is to better the business. It is
right,
not to lock arms and sing kumbaya.
yeah,
I get it. We all have our stuff.
yeah,
But just working through those kinds of things throughout the years. Another example is I work in real estate on the side,
yeah,
and that is one of the biggest transactions people will have in their life,
right.
buying or selling a house. And it's also one of the most stressful transactions that people will have
High stakes.
in their life.
Yeah,
And being able to kind of keep a level head and like when stuff starts getting stressful, being able to, talk to the people you're working with on the other side of the transaction, see where
mm-hmm,
they're coming from, allow them to have their needs met within reason
mm-hmm,
while allowing your client, your side, to have their needs met, kind of coming together for a common goal, um, for a win-win scenario.
yeah.
That's another example that I have seen.
So what advice would you give to people who maybe are a little bit more blunt and a little maybe come across a little bit harsher and they want to learn how to harness that skill of diffusing the situation and
I think you have to understand that everybody's human.
yeah,
Like we're all human. Um, seeing seeing something from their perspective.
yeah,
So everybody has an agenda,
mhm,
whether you like to think so or not.
mhm,
If you have something you want, that's your agenda.
yeah,
I mean, it doesn't have to be, you know, a bad thing, like you're trying to get something over on somebody else,
right,
but you have something that you want.
right,
So being able to work with people and understanding what they want or what they need out of a situation, I think that's how you have to approach it.
yeah,
It's not. There's bad people out there
yeah,
that are going to try to get one over on you, but you can't go into every situation looking at it that way.
mhm,
You have to go in saying, okay, this is what I want or what I need, but how can I get that while they get what they need out of it?
right. So not just focusing on your own needs, but also
And I think that's where a
recognizing,
lot of people come from, just in life, just
yeah,
as human nature is. I need to take care of myself, or I need to take care
right.
of my
Survival
family. Yeah,
of the
that's
fittest.
where how we have lived this
Survival
many
instincts.
thousands or million whatever years
Yeah,
is, yeah, that survival instinct. So
yeah,
I think that being able to understand that I can get what I need while you still get what you need, approaching it that way instead of approaching it from a survivalistic standpoint of
It's kind of what separates humans from animals.
you lose, I win.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think if you approach a situation like that, it has a tendency to work out better.
Yeah. And I also noticed the benefit of that in like other instances too. Like, for example, if you were trying to share Jesus with somebody and there's a lot of Christians out there who will come with just hellfire and brimstone.
Yeah.
This is what you're doing wrong, and they may not be incorrect
Yeah.
in what they're saying.
Right.
But it's coming across harsh and it's not being received. Whereas you have that ability to like say to people, okay, here, I see the pain point.
Yeah.
I see what you need.
Mhm.
So here's how I can communicate that in a way that you can understand and meet those needs.
Right. It's approaching it in a way of kindness is not necessarily the word I'm thinking of. Grace, maybe.
Yeah.
Like I went back to what I just said. Understanding what they need, approaching it from that side. Maybe they do need Jesus.
Yeah.
But maybe they have heard their whole life that they're a bad person, that they are their sin.
Yeah.
Rather than your sin is what you did, not who you are.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what they need to hear, because they've been beat over the head their whole life about you're a terrible person if you don't do something this way.
And it's not like you're patronizing them or giving them false information. It's just your delivery is a little bit more like smooth.
More sugar than vinegar.
More sugar than vinegar.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah, because like not just with the gospel, but with any news that you deliver, delivering it in that way can soften it. And I think that's a skill that every community needs, because if you just have the harsh, blunt people, there's never going to be that like diffusion of the tension and meeting people where they are.
Yeah.
So
I love my wife to death, and she's sitting in the room. And she can dispute this on her episode if she would like to. However, she is very blunt.
Yeah.
In her thinking and her wording of things to me. And I am able to use my strengths and soften that to who needs to hear it.
Yeah.
Right? Whether that's the kids or whatever.
Yeah. Actually, it'd be like, if you don't listen, I'm going to throat punch you. Elliott's like,
we need to listen.
Okay, if you don't listen, there will be consequences. Mama can be a little hood. That's okay.
Yeah.
So what about your weaknesses then, where you struggle with conflict, like you talked about in last episode? Like we railed you about in last episode.
We're going back to that. All right, guys, it's been nice. I'll see you later.
So how would you say, like in a community sense, what are the types of people that are best for you to be around that kind of help strengthen you in that area?
I think going back to the work discussion that we had, seeing the conflict happen. I guess it can kind of show you that it's okay. It's going to happen. And it's better to deal with it.
Yeah.
I guess. I guess it's better to deal with it.
But I mean, are there people in your life that you do feel like strengthen that in you?
Ashley, for one. Because we have conflict whether I'd like to or not. Not all the time. We're not miserable, for the record. But
she just doesn't let you get away with crap.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to deal with it.
Right.
Whether I want to or not.
Yeah. She just doesn't let you sweep it under the rug. And I do think that that's something that needs to be pulled out of you, because if it's not dealt with, then it kind of doesn't help you at all.
I know.
But I want to challenge you moving forward to start surrounding yourself with people who do like not enjoy. That's not the right word. Who do not
deal
shy
with,
away from
yes, who
conflict.
deal with conflict in a
Yes,
healthy way.
because I think that will greatly benefit you even if you don't like it.
That's fair.
Yeah, because
I don't like it, but that's fair.
because my like desire for you as your sister is I want to see you live your fullest life. I don't want to see you settle for less than because it makes you uncomfortable. Like we all have things that make us uncomfortable, and if we didn't face them, we would live the rest of our lives in agony.
Yeah.
Hello. One mine is one that you made me face.
What?
I have a confession to make, internet. I had at one point in my life a deep, deep fear of balloons.
Oh gosh.
I did, and it was
This was
because
unhealthy.
it was
fear.
very unhealthy. But in the 3rd grade, I was invited to a sleepover, okay? And at this sleepover they had those, I don't even know what you call them. They're the
The
big things
Mylar.
with the rubber bands on them and you like punch
Oh
them.
yeah. Yeah.
Right, like those, and they were gigantic, like the size of a ball you would sit on.
Yeah.
And we were playing around with those things, and this one girl punched one towards me, and it was inches from my nose, and it popped, and it was the loudest thing. Super scary for a
And
3rd grader.
Caitlin could not be
And
in
I
the
could
same
not
room
stomach
as a
the
balloon
sight of a latex balloon, like
for the next how many years?
an unhealthy amount of years. However, I have since slightly overcome that.
You have broken that chain.
That generational
in Jesus'
curse.
name.
Because, well,
that's not a generational curse. That is a you curse.
It would have been a generational
It would
curse
have been.
if I
Her
did
children
not
would
stop.
never have known that balloons existed at birthday parties.
My children are the reason why I got over it. I did not face that fear until I had children, but I remember you would hide balloons, and Josh did it to me too.
It was great.
Y'all would hide balloons wherever and like try to get one over on me, but it did force me to face those things. And when I had my children's birthday parties and we had balloons, I was forced to be like, okay, am I going to hide in a corner at my kid's birthday party? Am I not going to let my kid play with a balloon because it frightens me? Because I don't like the noise.
The potential noise.
Yeah, but that was the thing.
Yeah.
It was the anxiety of not knowing when that noise would come. It's like a jump scare.
Yeah.
Like being in a scary movie and like you know something's coming, you just don't know when.
Yeah.
It was that kind of feeling. So,
well, thankfully you got past it.
I did, and I'm better for it.
Good.
So,
moral is
face your fears.
I will prayerfully get past my anxiety of confrontation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it an anxiety like that though?
It might be.
Like
I've never thought about it that way.
Like I feel like I'm gonna hyperventilate because
I don't have like a visceral reaction like that,
okay.
But
Well,
not like
good,
somebody
good for
with
you.
balloons. I think it's the fear of failure. Oh, we are about to get into some stuff.
Open that can of worms.
I don't think we have time for that.
Yeah, we do. On this extended episode of the podcast.
Bonus content. I think it goes back to the fear of failure.
Yeah.
Because like we said in episode 1, I pick things up quickly. And I'm naturally good at a multitude of things.
Yeah.
Again, that sounds so
conceited. No, it's accurate though.
But to people that don't know me, it's like, oh, look at this guy. He thinks he's something. But I think that's what it goes back to, is that I have been gifted in that way my whole life. So dealing with this, and I don't think not being able to control it is the right way to say it.
Yeah.
I guess not knowing the outcome is a better way to put it. Um, playing golf for so long,
Yeah.
I had an idea of the outcome of a shot.
Right.
And if it didn't go the right way, I know why.
Right.
Not knowing how a conversation or confrontation is going to end up,
Oh, yeah.
and whether it's going to derail a relation or like
Yeah.
whatever it is, I think comes across as a failure rather
Mhm.
than a growing point.
Mhm.
And that's probably where it stems from.
I get that because I've had situations in my life where I'll lose friendships and I'll sit there and rack my brain like, what did I do wrong? What could I have done differently to not make that happen?
Yeah.
And it is like it's like I failed. I failed because I wasn't able to make that relationship work. But what I've learned is that I always assumed it had to do with me. You
Yeah.
know, I always assumed that because I've lost all these friendships, I'm the common denominator. I must be the problem.
Yeah.
And so I always assumed that my actions caused the failure,
Hmm.
quote unquote.
Yeah.
But what I came to realize over the years is that it didn't really have as much to do with my actions as it did with that person and I were just in different places.
Right. That makes
And
sense.
so if they're in different places from you, is that a relationship you need to hold on to? Like
I get what you're saying.
it's
I
kind of
mean,
like trying by fire. Like the things that are meant to be there are going to survive the fire.
yeah.
And everything else gets burned off, but like if it gets burned off, you didn't need it anyway.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
So in that way, you can't fail because the people that survive that fire, that survive that confrontation or whatever it may be, those are the ones that when push comes to shove, they're in your corner.
Yeah.
They've got your six, and that like for life. And that was a big thing with Josh and I is when we had our first conflict, I knew that I knew that I knew like, okay, we're solid
Yeah.
and we can make it through anything because I knew he had my back from that point on. And I
Yeah.
wouldn't have known that without the conflict.
And I think in more recent history, um, Ashley and I have dealt with some stuff, and going through that, I've gotten more to a place
Yeah.
of, like you said, knowing that she's going to be there, that
Mhm.
she's got my back. It's still hard
Yeah.
after having done it the wrong way for so long
Mhm.
to get to that place. I think I've gotten better.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying more.
I agree.
It is still hard.
Yeah.
Also, I'm very impressed that you knew what got your six means. So kudos on that one.
I
Um,
know I know things.
I know things. That was an impressive drop there.
Appreciate it.
Did you know that before, Josh?
Uh no, I don't think
Okay,
so.
good job.
It's not like he says it all the time,
I
but
know, I
like
know. But when you said that,
yeah.
I was like, man, okay,
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, but truly, it is those relationships that do make you feel like confrontation's okay because the people who are meant to last are going to last. And the people who aren't um won't, but that's okay because you can is another thing I've learned about conflict. You can let someone go and still love them.
Hmm.
Like you can still have deep love for that person and wish the best for them and be like, we're just not in the place right now where we're compatible moving forward.
Yeah,
And that's okay. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't think you can lose and I don't think you can fail because you're gaining far more than you're losing.
yeah,
You're gaining solid relationships that withstand the trials and withstand the test of time. And that's worth everything you lose along the way.
noted. Put that one.
So
Put that one
file
in.
that away.
Put that one in the nugget and marinate on it for a little
Put
while.
those facts and figures, Barry, into the idea machine. Name that one.
Gosh, I have no idea.
Baby Mama. That was
Okay.
more of a Jesse movie.
No, I know the movie. I just, you got me with that line.
Yeah. Me and Jesse say that one a lot.
Gosh, y'all would. Y'all would.
All right. Well, any closing remarks?
No, I don't think so.
Do you feel like you've learned something?
Yes, that is what I came here for, was to learn more about myself.
Has this felt like a therapist?
Oh my gosh.
session?
Yes.
The
first one was fun. Talking about your strengths is fun.
Yeah. I tend to have that effect on people, though, where we're just going to dive right into the therapy session.
Yeah.
That is a weakness of mine. I skip small talk.
Yeah. Hi, new friend. Tell me about your deepest, darkest weaknesses.
It's like there's this video going around TikTok where the person's like,
R.I.P. TikTok.
"What's your favorite color?" "Pink." "Mine too." "What's your deepest, darkest secret?"
That's funny.
Where was your childhood traumatic?
Yeah.
That is
Please
me.
tell me about it.
I do tend to skip, so I
Here's
gotta
a
work on
couch
that.
if you need it.
I gotta work on that. Ashley and I joke that if we ever got to the point where we hosted events and stuff, it would be like Elliott would be the greeter, where he's at the front door. "Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you." And then Ashley and I will be sitting at a table ready to interrogate them about their life history.
That is accurate, though.
But you need both. You need both.
You do.
You just need them in equal
And we're tying
quantities.
it all in to community.
Yeah.
We need all strengths.
All
To
strengths.
balance out all weaknesses.
Very true. So,
I will close us by saying I'm very proud of everything that you have been able to do, whether it's a podcast or a book or whatever it is. I will be honest in this moment and say I never saw this.
that was my follow-up question. Like, did you ever
think? This was not on my Caitlin bingo card in any realm.
I don't think it was on anyone's.
However, you have done very good work.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Golf clap.
Because I did not see myself getting to this point either, but won't God do it?
Yep, he's the only one that can.
Yeah. So if he can do it for me, he can do it for you. But thank y'all for joining us today and talking through this with us, getting to see us work through some of our strengths and weaknesses together. I hope that this has given you something to think about and that you will join us for the next guest. Would you do this again?
Yes.
Oh, we're getting somewhere, people. We're getting somewhere. All right. We'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's episode and you want to connect further, you can head over to yourfriendcaitlin.com. That's yourfriend, CAITLIN.com. There you can find all of my social media links, get updated on what's new, and even check out some of my books that can help you learn even further. Check back with us next time. See you then.